This has Penguins fans very concerned as we have a shocking trade update regarding Sidney Crosby as his agent Pat Brisson is discussing how all options are on the table for the Penguins forward. Hello everyone, welcome back to Penguins Digest. My name is Nikash Ganguli. Hope everyone is having a great day whenever you guys are watching this. But we have some crazy news involving Sidney Crosby as his agent Pat Brisson had some quotes today discussing that the Penguins forward may actually be on the move, and this is concrete quotes from his agent himself. So we're gonna get into that and more throughout today's video. But before we get into the nitty gritty of today's content, make sure you guys do, of course, subscribe to the channel. We are currently at 67.5% of viewers who are not subscribed. So if you are in that large portion of viewers of our videos who are not subscribed, why don't you hit that subscribe button? It's easy, it's free, it's right below, right down below me. And I think you guys will love the channel because we are discussing all things Pittsburgh Penguins right when they happen, right when they come out throughout the season. It's going to be a big one because the Penguins have a lot of work to be done. But let's get into the bulk of the video today. So we had this big article from Pierre LeBrun, which basically discussed Sidney Crosby on Penguins futures, Canadian speculation, and more. That's the hard part about losing. So there was some very interesting quotes about Sidney Crosby and his future with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they have been making huge shockwaves on social media over the past hour or so since this article came out. And the first quote to look at is from Pat Brisson himself. Let's put it this way, it's always a possibility, you know. Agent Pat Brisson on chances of Sidney Crosby leaving Pittsburgh. Obviously, this is huge. This is probably the first time we've actually seen Crosby's agent come out and say something this concrete. And if I was a Penguins fan, this has me very interested in seeing what could happen. I know a lot of Penguins fans who are watching this video, obviously, you hold Sidney Crosby very near and dear to your heart. He's, I guess the second best Penguins player of all time. And that's, not even disrespect because obviously Mario Lemieux was a Pittsburgh Penguin. And now the Penguins are in an interesting state where are they rebuilding? No one really knows. And now Sidney Crosby, there was a lot of rumors throughout last offseason, but then he did sign his extension, so those kind of went away throughout the season. And now that the next season is coming around, we are here on September 9th, the trade might be coming sooner than you think. So it's very interesting to see his own agent actually saying this, of course. And I think it's getting closer and closer to being a legitimate possibility. There's also another quote where he was compared to Tom Brady. If you look at this, the comparison is Tom Brady. We want Sidney to hopefully be in the playoffs every year. We want him to hopefully win another cup or two. So each year the team he's playing for fails to make the playoffs. It creates a lot of speculation. And in reality, he's not getting any younger. And that's true when it comes to Sidney Crosby. He's not getting any younger. Don't get me wrong, Sidney Crosby is still an elite NHL player. He has shown no real signs of slowing down. But I don't hate Tom Brady as a comparison if you're into football or if you know what Tom Brady did. He was on the Patriots for a really long time, was a dynasty there, won a lot of Super Bowls, and then he decided, I'm going to go over to Tampa Bay, win another Super Bowl, and then end off my career. So why can't Sidney Crosby do that? If he's not going to be a Penguin for life kind of guy, this does make a ton of sense from my point of view. And I know Penguins fans don't want to hear it, but now that his agent is saying it, I'll say again, it kind of does make sense. And even if we do look at, he goes on to say, it's been 3 years since they haven't made the playoffs. It all depends on how Sid is going to be and how the team is going to do. I maintain the same position that I do believe that he should be playing in playoff hockey every year, in my opinion. And you know what? I can't disagree with that because playoff hockey is better when Sidney Crosby's in it. As a hockey fan, I think I've missed Sidney Crosby in the playoffs the past few years. Although the new guard of the NHL has been doing pretty well, I think you do miss Sidney Crosby because I think, if you look at a guy like Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby's career rival, he's still in the playoffs making some noise, and I think Sidney Crosby deserves to be back in the playoffs, and if that is either on the Penguins or another team, it seems like that may be, kind of a turning point or an ultimatum that the Penguins might have to deal with, especially with Kyle Dubas wanting to tear down the team. It could be extremely interesting. And obviously another reason why we want Sidney Crosby back in the playoffs is because he is elite in the playoffs. If we look at his stats here, obviously he hasn't made it since 2021, but the guy's a point-a-game playoff performer. Obviously won the cup in 15-16 and 16-17, an elite run, and then obviously his cup early in his career in 08-09. I think Sidney Crosby deserves to be back in the playoffs. The stats show it. We all know how good Sidney Crosby is, and I know a lot of Penguins fans wanted to be with Pittsburgh, but Pat Brisson, he is signaling something different. So I'm not entirely sure what is going to happen with Sidney Crosby, but his agent coming out to say it is, as much of a concrete rumor as we've gotten. And if we look at what Sidney Crosby also said in the article, he said, I understand it. Obviously, he's talking about some trade rumors. It's not something you want to discuss. You'd rather be talking about who we're getting at the trade deadline, because he wants the Penguins to be good. Where we're at as far as, 1 or 2 or 3 in the division. But, it's one of those things. That's the hard part about losing. I think everybody thinks that the buzzer goes and you lose a game and that sucks. But there's so much more than that. It's the roster turnover. It's the unknown, the uncertainty, the question marks. That's the stuff that's tough. It makes you appreciate all those years that we were competing and going after the big acquisition every single trade deadline. I don't think I took it for granted, but I definitely appreciate it much more now. So, Sidney Crosby, maybe he's thinking about where else he could end up as well. He has been on record saying he doesn't want to leave Pittsburgh, but the guy is a winner at heart. Obviously, the Four Nations was huge for him. He got to play high intensity, high octane, very high stakes hockey again, which he hasn't been able to do since 2021, basically. And he's going to be able to do that again at the Olympics just before the trade deadline. So maybe the Olympics could be something that changes Crosby's mind. He really wants to win that cup, and I think Penguins fans would be sad to see him go. But if they do say win another cup, I think it might be a bittersweet situation for them, of course, because obviously Sidney Crosby had an elite season last year as well. If we do look at it, he had 91 points in 80 games. The guy's just elite. I don't know how many times I can repeat it in this video. He's an amazing player, and I think as a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you're kind of on both sides of the coin. You want Crosby to stay, be a lifer for the Penguins, but if he is able to go to another team and win, I don't think you would hate that either. It's a really tough situation, and I think as long as there's no trade package in my eyes that is worth Sidney Crosby, I don't think Penguins fans are going to be happy no matter what you get back if he does get traded. But these quotes are very earth-shattering, and I think it's either Pat Brisson, pushing Dubas to make the Penguins team good, or he's either pushing, maybe he's pushing Crosby to get traded. It's one or the other, because also Crosby's contract is very manageable as well. $8.7 million. He just signed his extension. It's the first of 2 years. So obviously, he signed it last year, but it's starting this year. And the cap is going up. Sidney Crosby has only ever made $8.7 million in his career, and he's staying at that. So a tradable contract if you want to look at the logistics. And another thing is, if we look at this article from Josh Yohe, of course, it says is the Penguins roster too good for its own good? Too good for its own good. And I think that's something interesting to look at, because the Penguins are supposed to be tanking, or I guess tanking, but their forward core is actually very, very solid. If you look at it, Russ, Crosby, Raquel, Heinen, Malkin, Mantha. Obviously, this is from Puckpedia, so this isn't what the roster is going to be. They're missing guys like, a Tomasino or someone like that who might come in and make waves, or even like a Rucker McGrody, who might also be pretty good. Lizotte, Novak, Achari, Connor Dewar, Kevin Hayes, and Justin Brazeau. This is a very solid forward core. Even their defense isn't that bad, with guys like Letang and Karlsson, and then who knows what's going to happen with the goaltending. Who knows how good Shilovs or Jari is going to be. But, I think Penguins fans wouldn't look at this and be like, okay, trade Crosby to make the forward core worse. There's been Rust and Raquel rumors practically all summer. Nothing's happened yet. But the Penguins do need to get worse, because right now, if they want Gavin McKenna, they're too good. So I don't know if Crosby's the one you trade to, try and change things. You can even trade a Malkin, a Novak, Heinen, Mantha, Raquel, Rusk. All guys that will be, I think, more valuable as the season progresses. But I think with these quotes from Pat Brisson, Sidney Crosby might actually be on the move soon. And that's not just, me saying stuff. I think these quotes are just very telling for me. And I've said that throughout this video. It's going to be very interesting to see if Sidney Crosby does stay, or if Pat Brisson has more to say. It's not very often you see agents come out for superstar players and, say stuff like this that, might indicate that, arguably the best player in the NHL for over 10 years will be on the move. So a lot of waves happening in the NHL right now. A lot of things Penguins related, I'm sure are gonna come as a training camp gets started and rookie camp gets started, because the season is just over or just under a month away. So if you guys did enjoy the video, let me know what you guys think about Pat Brisson's quotes about Sidney Crosby, about him possibly leaving. Do you think this is just a negotiation tactic, sorta, to push Dubas to make the Penguins better? Or do you think this could actually be a signal that Sidney Crosby will be on the move? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And of course, we'll see you in the next one for everything surrounding the Pittsburgh Penguins. Peace out.